In a silent room where only the ticking of a clock exists, someone sits alone, staring at a future that feels too far, too heavy, too unreachable. They breathe slowly, not because they are calm, but because life has pushed them to a point where rushing no longer makes sense. At this very moment, they question if they're meant for more, or if this is all life will ever offer. A deep voice inside whispers that maybe success is possible, but another voice, and louder, stronger, insists that dreams are for others, not for them. Yet what if both voices are wrong? What if greatness isn't loud, explosive, or immediate, but quiet, built in moments like this when everything seems still? Because sometimes the most powerful turning points begin not with action, but with silence, with a decision that no one sees, a decision that changes everything. Imagine you in that same room, feeling the same doubt, the same weight, the same invisible battle. Because this story is not just about one person. It could be anyone who ever wondered if the struggle is worth it. The truth is, most people quit, not because they lack ability, but because they never stay long enough to discover it. They didn't push through the moment right before breakthrough, the moment where discomfort tries to convince us to stop. Yet something remarkable happens when we stay. When we give ourselves one more hour, one more day, one more attempt, it's in the waiting, in the persistence, that possibility begins to unfold. Life rewards those who move forward even without applause, without clear results, and without certainty. And maybe that's where faith is born, not when we see the path, but when we walk through the darkness believing one will appear. Now picture a door, ordinary, wooden, closed. Most people pass by it every day thinking it leads nowhere. But one person, the person we follow in this story, decides to stop. They place a hand on the handle, heart racing, mind spinning with doubt. What if there's nothing behind this door? What if opening it leads to failure, embarrassment, or disappointment? Still, they turn the handle, even with shaking hands, even with fear, whispering no. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's movement despite it. And as the door opens, the world doesn't suddenly glow or celebrate. Instead, something even more powerful happens. Opportunity appears quietly, waiting only for someone brave enough to reach for it. And in that moment, our character realizes something profound. Progress doesn't come to those who wait for perfect timing. Progress comes to those who open doors nobody else dares to touch. This is only the beginning, the first step of a long journey filled with pain, doubt, hope, and transformation. But here's the truth that most never hear. The first step is never meant to be easy. It is meant to test desire, commitment, and belief. It separates those who wish from those who continue. Our character does not become stronger instantly, does not see results immediately. Instead, they walk forward slowly, uncertainly, but with a heart determined not to return to the life they once accepted. Because once you taste the possibility of change, even for a second, it becomes unbearable to remain the same. And so they continue, step by trembling step, building momentum that will soon be unstoppable. Their story is only beginning, and the challenge ahead is not small, but neither is the strength waking inside them. The journey continues on a cold morning before sunrise. Our character steps outside, feeling the air bite like reality, harsh but honest. Every breath forms a cloud, proof they're alive, still fighting. The world is quiet, but inside them something grows louder, a determination they can't ignore. Each step on the pavement echoes like a heartbeat pushing forward, refusing to stay in the shadows of who they used to be. Most people are still asleep, resting comfortably in ordinary lives. But those who rise before dawn, those who show up when no one watches, they are the ones who build unshakable futures. In this moment, our character learns that greatness is never instant. It's built in solitude, in repetition, in the invisible hours when discipline becomes stronger than doubt. As the sun rises, light touches their face like a quiet promise. Not a guarantee of success, but a reminder that effort is never wasted. The road ahead is long, filled with setbacks and unexpected storms, yet something has changed. They no longer fear the journey. Fear is still there, but now it rides beside ambition instead of blocking it. They take another step, then another, and soon the road becomes movement, momentum, life. They meet challenges that would once stop them, exhaustion, unfamiliar tasks, failures that sting deeply. But now, each failure becomes fuel, not proof of weakness, but evidence of growth. They start to understand that winning is not about speed or comparison. Winning is staying on the road when everything inside says turn back. Because persistence is the hidden language of destiny. Hours turn into days, and the path reveals its true weight. Progress comes slowly, painfully, like carving stone with bare hands. But the person who continues, who refines their goals through practice and patience, becomes unrecognizable from who they were. They learn that resilience is not built in victory. Resilience is born in the refusal to quit. They collect small achievements like quiet trophies, waking up earlier, learning new skills, showing up even when motivation disappears. No audience applauds, no spotlight shines, but inside a flame grows steadier. The world might not notice yet, but change is happening. The kind of change that cannot be undone, the kind that turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces. Then comes a moment, unexpected but undeniable. Our character stands at a crossroads, one path familiar, comfortable, safe, the other uncertain, steep, intimidating. Most choose comfort, but comfort never creates history. So, with a steady breath and trembling courage, they choose the difficult road. Not because they are fearless, but because they are finally unwilling to live a life half-lived. The climb ahead demands sacrifice, discipline, and patience, but also promises transformation. Every step upward feels heavy, yet every step upward builds power. This is where destiny separates from routine, where ordinary ends and extraordinary begins. And the world is about to witness what happens when one person refuses to settle. The third chapter begins not with triumph, but with the weight of reality pressing harder than ever before. Progress slows, obstacles multiply, and doubt returns like an old enemy with a familiar voice. Our character wakes up one morning, and the fire inside feels dim, almost gone. Goals that once felt achievable now seem distant, blurry, as if hidden behind thick fog. This is the phase most people never pass, the silent war within, where quitting feels easier than continuing. They ask themselves if all the effort is worth it, if growth is even happening at all. Every failure whispers, stop. Every setback suggests, turn around. Yet something keeps them moving, something stubborn and unexplainable. This is the moment that forges true strength, not in victory, but in surviving the urge to give up. Days stretch long, progress invisible to everyone except the heart that refuses to die. They learn that mastery is rarely loud. It is slow, uncomfortable, and often invisible. They discover that greatness is not built on motivation, but on commitment when motivation disappears. And so they persist, one step, one breath, one decision at a time. The world tries to distract them. Comfort calls like a warm bed on a cold morning. Mediocrity whispers promises of ease and relief. But they resist. The road does not get easier, but they grow harder, sharper, unshakable. For the first time, they understand that discipline is not a cage. Discipline is freedom. Freedom from weakness, freedom from regret, freedom from the life they refuse to go back to. Then comes an unexpected turning point. Not dramatic, not cinematic, but subtle, like dawn creeping over the horizon. They notice something small. Tasks that once felt heavy now feel natural. Challenges that once terrified them now seem manageable. The person who struggled is not gone, but transformed. The climb has strengthened them in ways no comfort ever could. They begin to trust themselves, not through loud confidence, but through evidence built in silence. They look back and realize they've traveled miles past their old identity, past limitations placed by fear, past the version of themselves that once begged them to quit. And suddenly the future doesn't intimidate them, it excites them, because they now know exactly who they are and who they are becoming. With this realization, momentum returns like wind at their back. Every day feels purposeful. Every challenge fuels growth instead of fear. The quiet confidence within them expands, steady like a heartbeat that cannot be silenced. They no longer need validation. They no longer need applause. Their character is built from struggle, carved from perseverance, and reinforced through pain. The world begins to notice something different. The way they walk, speak, exist. Not loud, not desperate for attention, but calm, grounded, powerful. And while others still talk about success, still fantasize about greatness, they live it. Because true transformation is not created by wishful thinking. It is built step by step, day by day in the shadows where no one is watching. There comes a final stage in the journey, not when life becomes easier, but when you finally become stronger than the noise around you. At this point, a man no longer fights for attention. He no longer races to prove anything. His presence alone speaks, not because he is loud, not because he dominates the room, but because he no longer needs to. This is quiet confidence, a power that doesn't demand recognition to exist. He moves with intention. He speaks only when necessary. His silence carries weight because it is backed by competence, experience, and internal certainty. While loud insecurity begs to be seen, quiet confidence simply is. And people feel it, even if they can't explain why. They respect him, follow him, listen to him, not because he shouts, but because he doesn't need to. This is where the transformation becomes irreversible. The man who once sought approval now stands rooted like a mountain, unshaken by opinions, untouched by comparison. He no longer measures himself by likes, validation, or attention. His value comes from within, and that is something no one can take away. Critics appear, as they always do, but he does not tremble. He watches, listens, and responds only when necessary. His ego is no longer a fragile glass. It is grounded, tempered by fire. He learned that rebellion doesn't always require noise. Sometimes the strongest rebellion is calmness in a chaotic world. Sometimes power is silence. And sometimes evolution is invisible until one day it is undeniable. Soon people begin to wonder, what changed in him? Why does he move differently? Why is he unshaken? But they never see the years of discipline, the late nights of self-doubt, the countless battles fought privately. They see the result, not the war that built it. And he never feels the need to explain, because explanation is a luxury reserved for the insecure. Instead, he lets results speak. He lets character speak. He lets silence speak. And silence one is louder than any performance. This is when he realizes that confidence isn't a destination, it's a daily decision. Every sunrise presents two paths. Insecurity seeks validation. Confidence seeks mastery. One is loud, the other quiet, but only one leads to freedom. So here's the final truth. Loud insecurity exhausts you, drains you, and keeps you chained to others' approval. Quiet confidence liberates you. It gives you peace, strength, identity. It turns noise into clarity and pressure into growth. And the best part? Anyone can develop it. Not through bragging, not through pretending, but through work, discipline, humility, and silence. If you reached this point of the video, comment one single word: silence. It means you're stepping into a new chapter, a chapter of power, presence, and inner certainty. And if you want more videos like this, real development, real growth, real transformation, subscribe. Because wolves don't scream to prove they're wolves. They hunt quietly, unstoppable.